So I worked with Radio Sweden while Mihai found a man from the London Times. His guy was interesting, funny, sociable, intelligent, likable. In a way, I wish I had him. True, with that guy, my life would have been different. Would it be for better? I'm not sure because, well, you never know. Uh, Fact is, on this trajectory with the London Times and an interest from London and other newspapers kept coming here, Mihai became their um, organizer, their contact point here. And that's what he's been doing all his life. I'm not sure if he's a journalist. He just told me a while ago that well, I changed his life, as I've aforementioned, by insisting on pulling him from that subway to come to the Intercontinental and do work with journalists. That's what he has done ever since, all his life. Even if he was an engineer or something in terms of education. And as I said, with the London Times, it was a good long period to work. Same for me with Radio Sweden, about 6 weeks. I think he went further. London Times stayed longer here. And then from one, as I said, from one British newspaper to another. I've seen it at one point in a documentary about what happened with the fall of the Iron Curtain and the fall of the Berlin Wall and things like that. And he was one of the people invited. I'm sure he has plenty of stories to tell. Perhaps you should check out YouTube, I don't know, and other things. His experiences might be way more interesting than my thing here. And the fact is, we did work for a while together. We went to cover, so to say, miners coming to Bucharest when they attacked the house and the headquarters of the National Peasants' Party. We were in the building across the street. When they occupied the building of the government, we went inside and, like the press, we checked around. Because, in fact, what happened was this. This guy, I forgot his name from the London Times, and Christina from the radio, developed or had an attraction for each other and developed some sort of a relationship. Probably intimate, but that's not, I'm not too concerned with that. As I said, I find the guy interesting and likable, not in that sense. I'm not a member of the sexual minority, but he was a pleasant man. She was not my cup of tea. She was cold, if you ask me. And still, they liked each other. They did each other. And they sent us. After a while, they trusted that we would see what happens and tell them. And of course, they would put it in words and make programs. Or in the case of the London Times journalist, he would make a story or send a summary or whatever. And Mihai and I would be always in the field, and they would tend to be, not always, don't get me wrong, when it was something really serious, like with the attack on the Peasants' Party headquarters. My memory says that we were all four there. I was with Madame from the radio, and Mihai was with his guy. But otherwise, most of the time, they could have us in the same place because, lucky for them, I would say, they didn't represent opposite sides. They didn't. I mean, they weren't both from England representing competing newspapers or something, because it would be odd to find similar stories in, I don't know, the Times and the Guardian. Like this, who was reading both the Times and listening to the radio from the north? So that's what we did for a long period of time. Okay, see you again tomorrow.